1769th एपिसोड ऑफ नागपुर's मोस्ट हैपनिंग फेसबुक लाइव शो, जिसका नाम है राज की बात, विमेन ऑफ द ईयर के साथ। महिलाएं वो जो ना ही सिर्फ अपने काम से, अपने बर्ताव से, अपने व्यवहार से, अपनी संस्कृति को ध्यान में रखते हुए ना ही सिर्फ अपने घर, अपने परिवार, लेकिन समाज के लिए जब काम करती हैं तो ऐसी महिलाओं को का सम्मान करना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है। कई बार कई सारी ऐसी महिलाएं हैं जिनके बारे में हम जानते ही नहीं कि वो कितने वर्षों से किस कोशिश में लगी हुई हैं। आज ऐसी एक महिला के साथ हमारी एक्सक्लूसिव बातचीत है। दिस इज नागपुर's मोस्ट हैपनिंग फेसबुक लाइव शो, जिसका नाम है राज की बात। 1700 प्लस एपिसोड्स हो गए और कोशिश जारी है। Really want to thank Parekh Brother Jewelers presenting Raj Ki Baat, Women of the Year, in association with Pehnava Boutique. Also a big thank you to Stylux Kitchens and Wardrobes. Can't forget to thank Pooja Shelke's Live Fit and also Nagpur ka Hospital, Orange City Hospital. Also a big thank you to Mampi Reusable Diapers for Children. हमारी आज की जो मेहमान है, शी इज अ प्राउड नागपुरकर, हैव बीन प्रैक्टिसिंग आर्किटेक्ट, एज एन आर्किटेक्ट फॉर मोर देन 43 years, and of course she is doing something which is really interesting and everybody should know about it. Please welcome my women of the year. Please welcome architect Suhasini Walde ma'am. मैम नमस्कार। मैम स्वागत आपका राज की बात में।
थैंक यू
मैम, सबसे पहले तो ये कि सुहासिनी मैम क्या महसूस करती हैं जब एक लाइट का एक फेस चला जाता है, पंखा बंद हो जाता है, एसी काम नहीं करता है, और जब तेज गर्मी लगती है और टिश्यू पेपर भी काम नहीं आता है, आप कैसे महसूस करती है, ये बताइए।
आई एम रियली इन नागपुर।
जी जी जी। सो आर्किटेक्ट सुहासिनी मालदे मैम से हमारी मुलाकात हो रही है, एंड आज भी वो एक व्यक्ति विशेष की गर्लफ्रेंड है जिनका नाम है रवि मालदे सर, है ना मैम। सो मैम, मैं इसके पहले रवि सर के बारे में बात करूं, मैम यू से दैट यू आर अ प्राउड नागपुरकर, प्लीज अपनी जर्नी के बारे में थोड़ा बताएं।
श्योर। आई वाज बोर्न इन नागपुर एंड आई कम फ्रॉम middle class Maharashtrian family. My childhood, my primary education mainly happened in very small towns of Maharashtra, like Amravati, Akola, Bhusawal, Malkapur and all. So I think in 6th standard I came to Nagpur, and since 74 I took admission in Sir J.J. College of Architecture in Mumbai, and luckily I was third on merit list there, so I got the admission, and since then I'm living in Mumbai, but as I said, I'm a very proud Nagpurian. Even in Mumbai, whenever, anytime, even till today, if anybody asks me where are you from, and I always say, oh, I'm from Nagpur, and they're still surprised that you are living in Mumbai for so many years and still you call yourself a Nagpurian. I said yes, of course, and I'm very proud of my roots, and it was tough when I entered in J.J. College, because that time I used to have a lot of complexes, like a small town se aa rahe hai, not looking so good, not at all, kind of, I was in absolutely awe of the entire magnificent structure of J.J. College of Architecture, its beautiful campus, and the crowd there, some of them being very fashionable, Xavier's College being just behind us and all that, and I used to feel, oh my God, मैं इतनी गाँव की useless lady, उधर जाके लड़की, वहाँ जाके मैं कैसे इधर मेरा निप पाएगा, But then right from childhood I was a very jiddi, determined, very strong willpowered girl, and I think because of that strong willpower, I decided, no, I have to really develop my personality in such a way that I should be able to do whatever I want. Like I should be able to communicate with anyone in any language fluently, properly. And I think that's what actually pushed me. Like I used to speak only Marathi till then. I never conversed in English. And that was again the first step towards developing my personality. I started reading a lot in literature, especially English literature. Marathi and Hindi I always used to read, but English literature helped me a lot. and I really practiced how the words are to be pronounced and how it is to be said properly, what is the proper way that you communicate with people, and that helped me a lot to come up in my life eventually.
Ma'am, when you passed your architecture, ma'am, it was 86. 1979. So from 79, did you join some architect, or you were doing your internship and all?
Yes, of course. I was working in various firms, architectural firms, and you know something, 1974, many years back. So that time, very few girls used to be in architecture, and it was tough journey. In many ways. Even those days, people had these perceptions that okay, women can't be very good architect. In fact, when I joined architecture, many of my dad's friends or many family members used to say that architecture is not the profession for girls, and I would argue why not? And they said no, you can't have your own practice because once you get married, you have children, you can't get into the profession, etc., etc. And I said no, it's not. I'm as good as any man, in this society.
Right.
And I can do anything that a boy can do, or a man can do, So there are no biases, gender biases like that. So with that mindset, I started working. And in fact, we got married immediately as soon as we graduated. So I never had any job till then. Like we did internship in third year.
Right.
Then fifth year was a proper professional practice. So that time I was working, but not as a proper job as such, So we got graduated in August 79. We got married on 2nd September 79.
Oh my God.
I didn't even have a job in my hand.
Right.
So we didn't know how to go about
That was too quick.
Yes, very quick. And it was a registered marriage. A month before we had gone and registered, etc., etc. So I was definitely working, but then both of us, it's our intercaste marriage. My husband is a Gujarati Jain and I'm a Kokanastha Brahmin. And both the communities are equally kind of,
So if I ask you, came cho?
Absolutely.
Majama?
Bahu majama.
Okay.
So, the first year of marriage, I had to learn to speak in English because at home everybody used to speak in English. But then I had, of course, go through a lot of hardships at home as well. Like घर का सारा काम करो, घर पे साड़ी पहनो, घूंघट पहनो. And I was such a tomboy that I had never worn sari in my life or done any housework as such. I used to fight with my mom. No, I don't want to do any घर का काम. मैं तो architect बनूंगी, मेरे को तो जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी घर का काम करने की, etc. But then the minute I got married, everything I had to do. बर्तन से लेके कपड़े धोने से लेके झाड़ू पोछा, everything. So the first few years to support, after 1 year of marriage, we moved out. We started living on our own, and तभी हमारी salary थी 500 रुपया each. In 1980, 1,000 rupees was really not enough for a couple to survive in a city like Mumbai.
Right.
But then we said, चलो रहना तो है, कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा. And in fact, that's how. And we had no support, no other family support. And as they say, architecture profession is so tough. You need lots of contacts,
Absolutely.
And, they say it's a profession of for rich people,
Absolutely.
Like of course.
And especially that time in 1980s, architects and interior designers had, only the rich used to, come across.
Hire architects or interior
designers.
So it was a very, very tough journey. But then because we were both determined and we had to go on, so we started our own life since 80, just on our own. So I had to work for at least 5-6 years, till 86. I had to work and support my husband when he thought of starting his own practice. Initially, of course, he also had to work because I think learning the entire trade is very important. College gives you certain knowledge, the basic knowledge.
Right.
But as an architect, it's not only about designing. You have to have the entire knowledge of the surrounding. You should know the economics, the political situation at that time, the fashion trends. You have to know culture, you have to know socio-economic conditions of the country or the places, you need to know environment. So it's not only about designing, also the costs, economics, like as I said.
And that time there was no, such Instagram or these kind of these
not even mobile phone.
No, not even mobile phone.
Even
I think that time indoor, outdoor, or inside outside, there was this book where
that came much later.
Oh, that also came much later.
There was nothing. In fact, I always feel that for architecture, right, अभी थोड़ा awareness बढ़ा है and अभी थोड़े avenues खुले हैं where you can actually display or project your about your projects and all that. But earlier there was nothing, and our professional ethics used to say that architects are not supposed to advertise about them.
Absolutely.
Till
today, I mean,
till today that is the ethics. Of course, many people go.
Yeah. There are black ships, it's
yes,
okay.
So that's okay. But that's how. So that time there was nothing. Even landlines were not very common in those days.
True.
So anyways, I worked for till 86, and of course in my during that period, I worked in MSCB as chief architect for some years, and I did the entire Chandrapur township, which was a very good experience in my life. And meanwhile, then Ravi had gone abroad to gain some experience for a year. He came back, and in 1985 he set up his own practice. But I couldn't join him immediately because, as I said, one has to support the income.
True.
And as you start the practice, you don't get the income immediately.
True, ma'am.
It starts coming later, stages wise, and that too it's not enough. Like you start with just one project, and then even uska kabhi kya hoga pata. So one has to work and earn to support the other person. But luckily, we were lucky in the beginning. Only we got many good projects, and I could leave my job in 1986, and I joined them in 1987.
Ma'am, when it comes to autistic children, when did this happen? That your concern for these children, got into your concern.
All right. So as I said, in 1986, 87, I started my own practice as well. And meanwhile, we had started settling quite okay then, because initially only we got huge projects like 1 lakh of square feet, 2 lakh square feet, building projects and some interior projects, etc. And we started earning okay, and then we thought of starting a family. So by the time we were married for 7 years, and then unfortunately when I thought of I conceived, but then I miscarried in the 3rd month. Then I was really disappointed. I really was looking forward. It's a natural mother's, woman's instinct, to be a mother. But then after some time, like next year again, I conceived, but then, unfortunately I miscarried that too. And that's the time when I went into very deep depression. And so deep, it was so deep that I disconnected with the world. So much so that Ravi used to bathe me, he used to feed me, he used to clothe me. And there was no connection. I stopped talking, I did everything. So after treatments and everything, I came out of it, but it took about a year to come back. And then after that, I went in for IVF, and during that also, unfortunately, there was a huge turning point in our life. I had a near-death experience at that time on the operation table, and that time I could really see myself, and I could hear everyone, and I could see everything. Like it was like a bird's eye view. I'm at the top, and I'm looking at my own body. So at that time, I knew that okay, this is a near-death experience. I remember reading a book about Dr. Moody called Life After Life, and I knew that okay, this is a near-death experience and I'm dead. And then I started thinking, like, suppose if I can't get back now in my body, that means I'm gone. That means whatever I've achieved so far is going to be here.
Right.
And then still, why do we go after so much materialistic things, so much material, and we go on collecting things, we go on doing so many we are so possessive about our things, etc. And I said, now if I don't come back, what is the use? Nobody will remember. Maybe for first 15 days people will remember. But the only thing remains after you're gone is something that you can do for the society, which is worth remembering. And fortunately, I tried, I think I have a very strong willpower, and I managed to come back. Doctors had given up on me, like it was a massive cardiac arrest, but I managed to get back, and no brain damage, nothing. I survived, And this kind of thing happened again twice in my life, but then this was the first episode with me. And then I started thinking, though I said, like doctor said, now you don't try for the baby and all that. So I said, okay. And then I again threw myself in the profession. But at the back of the mind, all these things were happening in my head that, what am I doing, you know? So many people used to suggest, why don't you adopt? And I said, Ravi and I would discuss, and we said, Ravi, I don't think it is worth. Like, I admire people who who adopt children, and those who can definitely should. But for me, I thought, no. Again, if I adopt one child, I'll be looking after only that child. So it becomes again your life, your possessions. You earn for that child's well-being and all that. So I said, instead of one child, why don't we do something for many more children, right? And that's the time we started looking at the avenues that what we can do for many more children of the society. And that time we met a friend who told us about his son's autism. And that was in 1994. And that was the first time even we heard the word autism. So I didn't know what it is. So he told me many things about what autism is about. And he told us that there is no facility for these children at that time. There was no awareness also. Like, as I said, though I have read so much, even I never heard the word autism. And
so if I'm not wrong, it's about children who are intellectually, they have an issue. They don't have a problem with it's not a mental issue. It's an intellectual issue.
Neurological behavioral
issue. Intellectual and behavioral issue.
Intellectual and behavioral. So they lack in communication skills basically, and they don't have eye-to-eye contact. There are many visible symptoms. Nowadays, at least people have some awareness about it. But in those days, there was nothing.
True.
So it's a genetic disorder, and it's a huge spectrum, autism spectrum. There can be various categories in it, and each child has a different kind of level of autism.
True.
So when I started knowing, and I said, if there is no facility for these kids in our society, why don't we do something for these children?
Right.
And Ravi and me decided, thought over, and we said, yes, we can do something, you know. And then we started working on it. We did a lot of research. We talked to a lot of neuropediatricians, a lot of experts in this field, many doctors in special education, etc. We saw some video films from Japan or abroad. And we used to have lots of meetings with parents of these children. There was a small group, about 40-50 parents in Mumbai at that time. And we used to meet them, we used to talk to them. We had no role model, based on what can we do, you know, for these children.
Right.
So initially we started with residential, but there was of course no facility. And then one of the social workers suggested us that why don't you do a day school for these children. Residential, and that time even parents were not ready to put their children in the residential. So we thought of setting up a school for children with autism. It took a lot of hard work, a lot of time, about 4 to 5 years for us finally to start a school called Ashana Institute for Autism in 1998. It is 25th year. We'll complete 25 years in October.
Wow.
Yes, long journey. And there were many ups and downs even in that. Like in the life, of course, there were so many ups and downs. Same way in this journey, it's not very easy to go on for 25 long years, you know. They need a lot of space. They need one-on-one attention. So the staff structure is very huge. The space requirement is very large. And basically it's a very expensive proposition.
Absolutely.
And you will not believe, but autism was not even included in the government's Disability Act till as late as 2000 or 2002. So there was no hope of getting any help from government, or we used to approach to some MNCs and all that, but then we had very sad response during the earlier years, definitely. So we had to really struggle very hard to manage it financially, because till today it is never a break-even point, because it is highly subsidized. It's 1/5 subsidized, the fees that we charge from them. We don't give them entirely free, because otherwise people don't value for that kind of education, and they think, oh, this must be like, you know, not so good. And so we charge a little bit, but it is almost 1/5 subsidized structure. So it was tough.
मैम, जब हम समाज की बात करते हैं, स्पेशली जब हम भारतीय समाज की बात करते हैं, जहाँ पर अलग अलग धर्मों से लोग होते हैं, अलग अलग सोच, अलग अलग मानसिकताएं लेकर लोग चलते हैं, मैम कोविड के दौरान में जो हमको देखने को मिला कि लोगों के लिए खड़े हो रहे थे, वो किसी भी धर्म का हो, किसी भी जाति का हो, किसी भी समाज का हो, लोग ये देख रहे थे कि इंसानियत अभी सबसे बड़ा धर्म है इस वक्त और उसको फॉलो करना है। लेकिन जब बात मैम इस वर्ग के बच्चों की आती है, जो जिन्हें समझना बड़ा डिफिकल्ट है और जो बहुत सामान्य है, उन्हें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, फिजिकल इशू कोई नहीं है, हाँ ये एक इंटेलेक्चुअल और एक जो आपने कहा कि बिहेवियरल इशू है। मैम काफ़ी वर्षों तक आपने कहा कि इसको गवर्नमेंट की बीमारियों में या इस कंसर्न्स में नहीं लाया गया। मैम अब चूंकि इतनी उसकी अवेयरनेस है, क्या अपेक्षाएं हैं, किस किस्म की अपेक्षाएं रखती हैं आप? क्योंकि अब तो मैम 25 साल हो गए, जो आपकी हार्डशिप्स थी वो तो आपने कवर कर लिया, अब आपको रास्ते पता है, ये नहीं तो ये नहीं तो ये, क्या करना है आपको पता है।
बट कैन यू बिलीव, बहुत मुश्किल है, अभी भी बहुत मुश्किल है। नाउ सिंस यू मेंशन कोविड, everything was closed. We also had to shut the school.
Right.
We started online classes, but it was very tough for our children. You know, ek to communication skills is lacking. Also, our children mainly are from economically weaker sections, so they didn't have the proper facilities for the online schooling, etc. And not everyone is techno savvy in that category. So it was very tough, and you won't believe, school was closed for 2 years, and ours is in a rented BMC school.
Right.
Our school is functioning since 2000. So इतने साल हो गए वहाँ पे है. They know that we are doing this. Ours is a charitable trust called Asha Autism Trust, through which, and only me and my husband are trustees, and through which we are managing this school. कोविड पीरियड में स्कूल पूरा बंद होने के बावजूद उन्होंने हमसे 2 साल का पूरा रेंट लिया.
वाओ,
पूरा रेंट लिया.
क्या बात, बहुत शानदार.
Including electricity charges, which we have never used. Ultimately, after a lot of fight and all, I think second year ka nahi liya, but they did. So, in spite of you thinking that there is awareness, there is still no awareness. You know, there is still a huge lack of awareness still in the society.
जिम्मेदार कौन है?
जिम्मेदार, I think, एक तो unfortunately, I'm not saying doctors are responsible, but autism was not even included in MBBS education till as late as again 2000 or 2002. It used to be taught at MD level, but then aap socho, in smaller villages and towns, how many MD doctors would be practicing, pediatricians? So many doctors didn't know, and parents never knew. Like as I said, we people, educated, well-read, we came to know about autism as late as 1994. So, uske baad logon mein, especially in the smaller towns and villages of India, they still don't have any awareness about autism. So they used to go undiagnosed, and they still go undiagnosed. You know, so the entirely, I think it is, I would blame the society also, because they never took pains to understand. And autism is such a huge topic that you can't just say in 2 sentences. You know, many other disabilities, okay, visually impaired, you know, hearing, you know. Autism cannot be explained in 1 sentence or 2 sentences.
मैम, मैंने तो एक इंटरव्यू किया जिसमें एक महिला ने मुझे बताया था ऑटिज्म के बारे में कि कई वर्षों तक तो उसे समाज ने इस रूप से देखा कि उनका बच्चा ऑटिस्टिक इसीलिए है क्योंकि उनके शायद कर्म अच्छे नहीं है, ये एक श्राप है उनको और उनके परिवार को. तो ये कितने दुर्भाग्य की बात है कि उसको इस तरह से भी दी.
Initially, people even abroad, people used to blame mothers, that it is mother's negligence that the child has become withdrawn and he has become autistic. So that was very bad. But luckily, all over the world, that thing is now completely proven wrong, and it is now not the case. But in India, still, अच्छा मैं एक बात बताऊं, when these people, the parents take their children out in the society, so suppose restaurant में लेके गए, now these kids are very hyperactive, they don't know, they have a behavioral issues, so वो टेबल पे बैठा है तो भी he may throw his fork, he may throw his knife, he may throw, normal children also do, but these children do it more, they will run around and all that, so and they look normal. Right, they don't, you cannot make out unless you know that this child has autism. So they look normal, and when the boy is running around helter-skelter, throwing the things and all, the other people watching him, they think that this boy is not well trained by the parents. He is misbehaving, बहुत लाड से बिगाड़ डाला है, you know, and then parents feel very embarrassed. Then they stop taking them out in the public places. Now whom would you blame? I would blame the society for this.
Absolutely.
You know, so to create this awareness was very important, which we took up as one of our projects also along with the school. We used to have a lot of seminars to create awareness. I used to give a lot of talks about autism. Then I wrote a book called Ekism Niragas in Marathi about autism, and see again, in our society एक ऐसे समस्या है, like majority, I'm not generalizing, but majority of the people think कि मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम ऐसा नहीं है तो मैं क्यों करूँ ऐसे बच्चों के लिए कुछ काम,
जी,
you know, जी. So people always were wondering why a couple like us is trying to do something like that. जी. Even some parents of children with autism considered us as outsider. आपको क्या समझ में आएगा हमारे बच्चों के बारे में, you know, so this kind of lack of, and on the contrary I feel because I'm an outsider I can look at the problem in a very different way. Right. Parents look at it at a very emotional level, I look at it at a very different level. You know, I'm looking at the well-being of the children. I want to make them stand on their own feet. I want them to be a part of the entire society, which parents are not, because they are embarrassed, so they don't take them out. Whereas we try to take them out on small field trips. We take them to McDonald's, we take them to supermarkets, we take them to metro ride, and we do lots of such field trips, you know. इससे क्या होता है, awareness भी बढ़ता है, even the kids get used to being a part of the society. Yeah. They become more social. Why I chose our venue also of the school, because it's in BMC school, so there are school kids around, so they see the kids coming. Now they demand that school जाना है तो मेरे को uniform पहन के जाना है. You know, earlier parents had very different concepts कि उनको तो समझता नहीं है, ऐसे नहीं है बात. They definitely understand everything. The only problem is they cannot communicate. So it's our duty to understand and try to communicate with them. Like when I meet a child with autism for the first time also, he immediately will come and hug me, he will communicate with me, he'll kind of, you know, talk to me in his way. And because I know how to deal with these children, I can really, and they feel very comfortable being with me.
Ma'am, I'm sure ऐसा कई बार हुआ होगा कि आप जो भी आपके सामने चीज़ें घटती थी इनिशियल ईयर्स में, जब एक तरफ आपका करियर तो चल ही रहा था बीइंग एन आर्किटेक्ट, बट वहीं पर as a worker for, or as a social worker for this cause of autistic children, आप जब घर आती थी तो वो बैगेज लेकर आती थी. रवि सर इसको किस तरह से देखते थे या आप?
No, I will tell you. I had fixed my priorities in life. We definitely, no doubt, we had to do time management. And luckily, we both being in the same profession, it was a big advantage for me. Right. And again, I would say sometimes, बच्चे नहीं होना was a big boon for me. I could work day and night. So we prioritized. We did the division of our projects. I used to handle my projects. He used to handle his projects. And then I used to look after the school during the daytime. And he would, of course, look after the office and other commitments. And I could go on my sites in the nights also. He also used to go. Like, for me, there was no restriction. I was working 24/7 during those years. I used to drive about 150 kilometers a day in Mumbai, every day. And after that, handling my clients, our suppliers, our contractors, they never knew that we have a school like this level ka. So they always started, when I started opening up and talking about it, they wondered, when you are so busy 24/7, how come you can handle this kind of project, and why are you handling this kind of project? So that was the main intention for me in writing a book, so that the first few pages I wrote about our life, our psyche, why we felt about doing this kind of project, and what is autism, how we set up Ashiana. Why I wrote that? So that other people should get inspiration to set up these kind of schools all over India. The ratio of these children, 1 in 50 children is affected by autism.
Oh my God.
So it is a huge number. We need huge number of schools, but I don't see that happening. So I don't think I really brought the baggage as such home, but then of course it was very taxing, but then it was very satisfactory that I'm able to do something for this section of the society. So and Ravi was always there to help me in any which way. As I said, during my depression, he did everything no normal husband would do, I feel, Even many a times wives don't do for that husband, that kind of a thing. That kind of things he did for me. And even during this phase, there were so many times that I felt like we should just close the school, So many problems, so many things. But then he always said, no, you continue doing it. I'm there to support. So his support is the biggest thing in my life, I feel.
Ma'am, I'm sure when we look at marriage as an institution, I'm sure Ravi sir might have learned a lot from you past these, how many years?
44 years.
44 years.
On second.
Yeah. So, first of all, wishing you a very happy wedding anniversary.
Thank you so much.
But then, I'm sure he has learned a lot from you. What have you learned from him?
I have learned a lot from him. In fact, how to be composed all the time. How you should not expect anything from others. How you should, like women have these normal tendency of gossiping, bickering, and talking about someone. Oh, nice. He has never said a single bad word about any person around us. So that I learned that you have no right to judge other person. You cannot make comments on other person just behind their back or in front. So that is something very big thing I learned. And of course, time management. We are more friends than a husband-wife. We help each other equally. I learned that he helps me equally in the household also, as I help him in the office and our profession equally. So we are at equal level. And I think that is the very important base of any marriage as such. When you treat each other equally, he treats me equal. He treats me at par, which is very important. Otherwise, still, most of the marriages, woman is not considered equal. So I learned from him that and I think all the men from the society should learn this from him, that unless you treat your wife at par, things may not be that happy.
Ma'am, past a few years, there are a lot of changes happening in the Indian society also when it comes to, मानसिकताएं बदल रही हैं, सोच बदल रही है. Ma'am, the number of divorces are increasing day by day. What do you think? What can be the one reason to it?
Again, as I said, first of all, equality. And giving respect to your wife, or your husband. And the relation between husband and wife should be as two friends, where you can discuss anything under the roof, anything on any topic. There can't be anything ki tum ye nahi kar sakte, tum nahi ye kar sakte. Like if I want to do something, I'll do it openly, and my husband should support that. And support to each other is equally important. Of course, in our generation, we of course knew the word compromise. which we did. Being intercaste marriage, there were huge problems, but then I also compromised. And that thing is little lacking now because of maybe single child, or just two kids who get everything, and kind of, they get whatever they want. So agar koi usko na bola, when the girl gets married, she goes to another house, so for her it's more problem. For husband it's easier because he's in his own house, but the girl has to go and adjust in the other house, whereas she's not used to that kind of adjustment in her own house, so it's a lot more struggle for her. So of course it needs to both the sides to do this kind of adjustment for the marriage to last. If not, it's bound to.
Ma'am, I'll have a very quick rapid fire with you.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's all about you. Yeah.
Okay.
And these questions may sound a little kiddish, but I'm sure it'll be fun.
Okay.
Ma'am, your favorite color?
Yellow.
Ma'am,
Golden yellow.
Ma'am, one food thing which is mouth watering for you.
Anything Italian. Vegetarian.
Ma'am, one movie you remember you went with Ravi sir in a theater and you had great fun.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Okay.
Have you even heard the name?
I haven't, but sounds interesting. Yeah. Ma'am, one song which you agar because I'm a RJ, I somewhere think, I feel that हर किसी का दिल एक FM चैनल है और हर वक्त हर किसी के दिल में कोई ना कोई गाना बजता रहता है. ऐसा गाना जो आपके दिल के FM में हमेशा बजता रहता है, आप किसी भी मूड में रहे.
Actually, as a child, I was a very lonely child. I was very withdrawn, as I said, because of my complexes. So, एक song था, एका तळ्या तो होती बदके पिले सुरेखा. Then I loved चैन से हमको कभी, and I love वक्त ने किया क्या हंसी से थम. I love ghazals, all the ghazals, especially मेहदी हसन साहब की. And उसमें बहुत सारे हैं. फैसला तुमको क्या फैसला तुमको भूल जाने का. देन क्या टूटा है अंदर अंदर, रंजिशी सही तो है ही. लाइक ऐसे बहुत सारे प्यार भरे दो शर्मीली.
सुहासिनी मैम की लाइफ में चैलेंज क्या है?
चैलेंज है कि मैं जब तक जिंदा हूँ मेरा आशियाना जिंदा रहे. जब तक मैं जिंदा रहूं मेरी बहुत सारी इमारतें मेरे सामने खड़ी रहे जो मेरे बाद में भी खड़ी रहे. I always say as an architect, when we create something out of nothing, and when the building comes up and you see the beautiful magnificent structure in front of you, you know that is going to be there long after you're gone. It's very, very satisfying. But the creation of Ashiana Institute of Autism is far more satisfying even than that creation that we do. So this creation is again very, very, and I'm passionate about both the things equally. So that passion should remain intact till the end.
Ma'am, Ravi sir is also watching the show. So
Yes.
one thing which you have never said it to him, you like to say it on the show. I'm sure you said everything.
Everything.
But
because
one
we're
thing.
so open to each other. We don't
Right.
everything.
But one thing.
I always feel that whenever we leave this planet, it should be together. That's what I always would like to say.
Ma'am, अगर this would be my last question. अगर एक जिंदगी की सुनहरी किताब लिखी गई, उस किताब के एक सुनहरे पन्ने पर सुनहरे अक्षरों में ये नाम लिखा गया, आर्किटेक्ट सुहासिनी रवि मालदे. मैम, उसके नीचे कौन सी ऐसी लाइन, कौन सा ऐसा कोट, कौन सी ऐसी बात लिखी रहनी चाहिए जिसे पढ़ने के बाद लोग आपको हमेशा याद करें?
I feel when you're walking on a path, there are so many hurdles, many hurdles, as many as there are stars in the sky maybe, but you have to trust your compass to take you to the proper star that you're looking at. And maybe I'll fall down, but I should get up again. again I'll fall. I should get up again, irrespective of what people say, what people think about it. And I should just keep walking till I reach my final destination with the help of my compass.
Ma'am, I really wish, I really pray that you and Ravi sir together make it to the bestest time of your life.
Yes.
And you know, whatever dreams you have for your your organization, you know, आपको सब मिले. आप जो कोशिश कर रही हैं वो वहाँ तक पहुँचे जहाँ तक पहुँचनी चाहिए. और आपकी ये जो एक कोशिश है, ये कोशिश कभी खत्म ना हो, आपके रहते रहते भी और आपके जाने के बाद.
और इसके लिए मुझे पूरे सोसाइटी का, आई थिंक वी नीड द हेल्प फ्रॉम द सोसाइटी ऑन in every which way, financially, voluntarily. Like, you know, we feel there are not many volunteers coming ahead to work with us. There are not many people, philanthropists, who are willing to donate as much as we. So, just दो जन कितने करेंगे, कितना.
मैम, मुझे ऐसा लगता है भगवत गीता में ये बात बहुत सरल तरीके से लिखी गई है कि जहाँ नियत है वहाँ नियति है. तो नियति साथ देती है अगर नियत साफ है.
नहीं, वो तो हो ही रहा है. That's why we have been here for 25 years. You know, नहीं तो बहुत से सारे ऐसे स्कूल्स हैं जो शुरू होके बंद भी हो गए.
मैम, ये इंटरव्यू हजारों लोगों तक पहुंचेगा, आपकी कोशिश भी उन तक पहुंचेगी. और उम्मीद है कि उनमें से कोई एक जन भी अगर आपके साथ आ गया तो वो अपने साथ औरों को लेकर आएगा. आपने अपना वक्त दिया, आपने हमसे बात करी, आपने हमें इन ट्रू वेज इंस्पायर किया, उसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
राज, आई शुड थैंक यू फॉर गिविंग मी दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी.
यू शुड थैंक मी कि मैं 7 माला चढ़ के आया. आपने अपना वक्त दिया.
And you should thank me. You must have lost a little weight today.
I am sure, man. But trust me, I'll go out and eat something really good Italian food, and I'll cover it up.
खिला दूंगी, उसमें क्या है?
नहीं, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm a good cook too, so
I am sure. I'm sure. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
जनरली मेरे जो इंटरव्यूज होते हैं वो 15-20 मिनट के होते हैं. मुझे नहीं पता ये इंटरव्यू कितने देर का हुआ, लेकिन रोकने का मन नहीं कर रहा था, बट थोड़ी मजबूरियां हमारी भी होती हैं. देखिए, एक जो नंबर है इसकी एक फिलॉसफी है, और वो है कि 1 और 1 जब उसको आप ऐड करें तो वो 2 बन जाते हैं. ऐसा गणित कहता है. 1 और 1 जब मिल जाए तो वो 11 हो जाते हैं. ये संगठन का बल कहता है. 1 और 1 एक हो जाते हैं. ये इश्क, ये प्रेम का उसूल कहता है. लेकिन 1 और 1 जब सिर्फ 0 बन जाए, 1 माइनस 1 अगर 0 बन जाए, तो वो ईश्वर का रूप होता है. और 1 जब खुद अकेले में 1 रह जाता है तो वो उम्मीद करता है कि 1 और मिल जाए. एक कोशिश सुहासिनी एंड रवि मालदे ने की. इतने वर्षों से, पिछले 23 सालों से वो कोशिश में लगे हैं. देखिए, एक कोशिश कहाँ तक पहुँचेगी इसका जवाब तो नहीं है, लेकिन उन तक तो ज़रूर पहुँच गए जिन तक पहुँचना चाहिए. उस ईश्वर के पास, जो ईश्वर उन्हें शक्ति देता है, उन्हें माध्यम देता है, उन्हें कुछ ज़रूरतें पूरे करने के लिए कहीं ना कहीं से फंड्स भी इकट्ठा करता है. बाकी वो अपनी मेहनत से तो कर ही लेते हैं. लेकिन इस पर मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि थोड़ा सा जागने की ज़रूरत है. क्या हम सिर्फ कथाएं पढ़कर, धर्म की किताबें पढ़कर, धर्म का नाम लेकर, किसी ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करके कब तक सिर्फ अपने लिए ही मांगेंगे? कब तक? क्या कोई महा आपदा का आना जरूरी है तभी हम ये कहेंगे कि इंसानियत हमारा धर्म है? हजारों करोड़ों स्विस अकाउंट्स में रखे हुए हैं. एक दिन वो चले जाएंगे. जिन्होंने जमा किया वो भी चले जाएंगे. लेकिन क्या वो किसी के काम आएंगे? सवाल बहुत है हमारे सामने, लेकिन जब जवाब ढूंढने जाएं तो नहीं मिलते. शायद जवाब हमारे अंदर है, बस हम देना नहीं चाहते. उम्मीद है कि ये शो उन तक पहुंचे जिनके पास जवाब हो, और वो जवाब सुहासिनी एंड रवि मालदे तक पहुंचे, उनकी कोशिश तक पहुंचे. किसी ने बड़ा खूब लिखा है कि प्रेम परिचय को पहचान बना देता है, वीराने को गुलिस्तान बना देता है। मैं अपनी नहीं, सुहासिनी एंड रवि मालदे की कहता हूं कि अपने काम के प्रति, अपने समाज के प्रति मोहब्बत इंसान को भगवान बना देता है। आपसे फिर होगी मुलाकात इन राज की बात। तब तक आप अपना ध्यान रखें, सुरक्षित रहें, स्वच्छ रहें, स्वस्थ रहें, मस्त रहें, खुश रहें, व्यस्त रहें, परिवार के साथ एक अच्छा वक्त बिताएं। और अगर आपके परिवार में एक छोटी सी बिटिया है जो अपना खाना थाली में डालकर अकेले बैठ के खाती है, अपनी ड्राइंग बनाकर कई बार खुद ही कंफ्यूज हो जाती है, अपने अकेले खिलौने के साथ अकेले खेलती है, पर एक दिन वो सब करती है जिसे करने के लिए लोग कई हजार जन्म ले लेते हैं, तो समझिए वो सुहासिनी मालदे बन रही है। जिंदा रहें। जय हिंद।